No one has been able to get through to him. And the only thing that got through to him was this realization, like, man, I could really lose everything. I don't think he's some evil guy. I think he's lost, and he's constantly searching.
He said it in his post. He said, I'm no different than any other human being. I am a seeker of truth and knowledge, and I know who I am.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
He is different than everybody else.
Yeah, definitely is.
As our buddy Raheem Palmer chronicled,
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
We're 6 years removed from a yacht with all white girls to being a vegan, being a Muslim, being a devout Christian, he's constantly searching for something, right? And in that search, not understanding that this was not something that was just going to be, hey, I'm a free thinker and this is okay. Like, you can't. And I see there's a lot of people that are defending him. And I would just say, come on, man. I think throwing it all into the same basket of censorship or not being able to have an opinion on anything or free thought, all that stuff, sometimes that's getting super bastardized. Because the truth is, we have to be accountable for what we're putting out there. If you take a picture, if Joe Harris takes an Instagram picture and there's a massive Confederate flag in his living room, somebody's going to ask him, yo, man, what? And if he says, I'm seeking my own truth, and they're going to be well, hold on, do you agree with that? Do you understand that this is very bothersome towards people? And he's like, oh, well, sorry if it bothers you, but I'm not a hateful person. I love everyone. I didn't do anything wrong. And then people are like, well, hold on now. But there's a massive Confederate flag in your living room. We've got to assume that you agree with, and are you racist? And then he's like, I love everyone. I don't think that anything's right. People would go bananas. And to act like that's not the case, whether you have a problem with the way things are now or not, that's the reality. And if you are going to 17, 20 million people or whatever, say, hey, check this out, and it's filled with a bunch of anti-Semitic things, or if you recommend some book that's mega hateful or racist or homophobic or whatever the case may be, yes, you're going to have to answer for whether or not why you're recommending that to people, because the assumption is that you agree with what that says. And if you agree with what that says, then that means you are. And so just instead of just saying man, I don't agree with all that. I think it's really interesting. I think the guy makes some good points, but I don't agree with what he's saying about the Holocaust. I don't agree with what he's saying about the religion and how it was formed. And there's some things in there that I think are truthful, that I think that made me think about things differently, but I understand how hurtful this thing is. And, I'm not trying to promote this to anyone. I'm sorry I did. That's if you're a reasonable person, right?
So he apologizes this morning. He says, I'm deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize to all Jewish families and communities. Sean Marks, their general manager, comes out and says the apology was a good first step, but the organization wants him to take some more steps talking with Jewish leaders in the area. And if he does all that, then he could potentially play with the Nets again. And Marks also said the organization has never considered releasing Kyrie Irving. The other interesting thing that kind of happened this morning was KD at shoot-around saying, I just didn't like anything that went on. I felt like it was all unnecessary. I felt like we could have just kept playing basketball and kept quiet as an organization, and that required him to immediately go to Twitter and clarify his comments, saying, I just want to clarify some comments made at shoot-around. I see some people are confused. I don't condone hate speech or anti-Semitism. I'm about spreading love always. Our game unites people. and I want to make sure that's at the forefront. So now KD's roped into it. Granted, he clarified those comments very quickly. We'll see how this Kyrie thing develops, but I'm still not sure this is going to go away. Maybe it will. Maybe people turn the page now. I don't know.
That's his buddy's fault. It could have gone away. He was given every opportunity to just make it go away.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And he didn't do it, right?
And now it's still a thing. It's a Friday. I mean, maybe by Monday this will be over, but I don't think it will be. I don't think it's going away. Because he's still suspended, by the way. Like he's not going to be over at least until he returns to the court. And then when he returns to the court, it's going to be a thing again.
Like I said, if somebody puts out some racist stuff or whatever, and then they say, hold on now, like that's not me. I did not mean that. I did not intend that. I'm not racist. Everybody sees how I act all the time. Everybody sees what, and I'm sorry, and that's not what's what. Then there are people that are going to be mad at you no matter what. Like, yeah, right. You're full of crap, right? That is really what you believe. But it was the digging his heels in that got him in the spot. He could have made this go away in 2 seconds. Just delete the tweet and say, like, yo, I don't agree with that. Instead, he did the whole dig your heels in. I'm smarter than you. I know the Oxford Dictionary. Like, just wild. It's like, I don't think he's, like I told you this a million times, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's got some evil heart. I think he's confused, lost, and
misled.
Yeah, and obviously no one was able to get through to him. You know what I mean? No one has been able to get through to him. And the only thing that got through to him was this realization, like, man, I could really lose everything. Like, and I get it. You got a problem with the media. And maybe sometimes they've been unfair to you and you just can't stand it. And so that's why. But this is so much bigger than you versus the media, or you feeling like you're caving to them. This is the public at large. These are like real people. And you not being willing to just say, I mean, he was just asked like very pointedly a question that would have gotten him completely off the hook. Really. And he didn't do it. So, I mean, it was all self-inflicted. Every bit of it. Nobody did this to him. He did it to himself. He was like, I don't know how any reasonable person couldn't sit back and say, all you had to do was say, I don't agree with it. That's it. It's gone. Like, man, I shouldn't have posted that documentary. I didn't realize how messed up that was. I'm sorry. I'll think harder about the next time before I post something. I watched it and I did not realize. Because I would imagine a guy with a, as long as you're not some evil person or anti-Semitic, and I don't have any reason to believe that he's, people should be judged on how they speak and how they act towards people. Not something they watched. Just because you watch a documentary doesn't mean that he subscribes to all that. But he had the opportunity to just say, I don't subscribe to that, right? Like at that point,
unless he does subscribe to it. Unless he does, but the apology is just, because he's trying to save his career. I mean, we don't know. We don't know. Ultimately, that's why the Nets are looking for actions, not just words. They want him to meet with Jewish leaders. They want him to do more stuff before they have him return to the team. That's what they want to see, is action.